The movie begins on a very isolated island. There was no civilization anywhere across this island, and there was not a single person to be seen anywhere nearby. The island was covered only with massive rocky mountains. So on this deserted island, we see a man named Jilin. He was wearing winter clothes and carrying a bag on his shoulder, heading toward some unknown destination, and he looked very worried. After walking some distance, he reaches the edge of a mountain, slips, and falls down below, and he rolls all the way down and lands directly in a river. The river was completely frozen with ice, and in that freezing cold, he was suffering badly. Then somehow he manages to climb out of the river, and he starts his journey again. After falling from the mountain, he was in a lot of pain. He was also extremely hungry by now, because he had not eaten anything for a long time. In fact, he had no food with him at all. Just then, Jilin notices a flowering plant in front of him. Driven by hunger, he picks some flowers from that plant and eats them. And after resting there for a long time, he starts his journey once again. Now we are shown how Jilin ended up in this situation. In fact, Jilin was a prisoner. Here we see that the police had arrested him for the murder of about 6 people, and he was sentenced to life in prison. After spending quite some time in prison, one day, the prison governor suddenly calls Jilin to his office, and he asks him what his dream in life is, what he wants. But not only Jilin, several other prisoners were also being called in one by one, and they were being asked what their dreams really were. So a prisoner named Moriak says that his dream is to see the ocean, because the beauty of the ocean and the sound of its waves bring him a sense of wonder and create a peace in his mind that he cannot find anywhere else. A prisoner named Yakud says his dream is to see a war against China, and a prisoner named Abijan was a little different from everyone else. He tells the governor that he actually loves being in prison. He likes everything about prison, so he wants to become a great prison warden someday. That is his dream. Now a prisoner named Toy says he wants to go to a space station, and a prisoner named Sipa says he wants to see women again, just like before. In fact, it was because of an incident involving a woman that he had been sent to prison, but we are not shown what Jilin told the governor. So after hearing everyone's dreams, the governor tells each of them that they have been selected to be transferred to a special colony. They will no longer be kept in this prison. Then we see that all the prisoners who are going to be transferred to the new place are given new colored uniforms, and each prisoner is brought to a port and prepared there. Then all of them are taken inside a massive ship, and inside that ship were huge prison cells, where each prisoner was locked in separate cells. There were hardly any rules inside this ship. Even if one prisoner killed another, it did not matter. Here we see that prisoner named Abijan, whose dream was to become a prison warden. And after coming onto the ship, Abijan acted as if he himself owned the entire place. He even declares himself the leader of everyone there. He even kills a prisoner just to take over a bed. Then after a short while, their ship sets out on its sea voyage. And because of this, all the prisoners there become terrified, because they start believing that they are all going to be taken into the middle of the ocean and killed. Now, while every prisoner is deeply afraid of this, at that moment, Jilin remembers something from the past, from when he used to stay with that prisoner named Sipa. Sipa was actually different from everyone else. He often said strange things, and he was always serious. At the same time, he was always drawing different pictures on the walls and talking to himself. Then one day, suddenly, he tells Jilin that everyone knows there is a place called heaven and hell. But I say there are 2 hells, and one of those hells exists here on Earth, and preparations are being made to create it. But back then, Jilin could not understand anything Sipa was saying. But now, in the present, he remembers Sipa's words. And Jilin starts to feel that maybe Sipa was calling that place hell, the place where they are now being taken. Maybe somehow he had heard something about that place. So Jilin sits on the ship thinking about all of this. And now we see the situation on the ship has become much calmer. Everyone has accepted their fate and is sitting there quietly, and they are passing time talking to one another. They all tell each other that today may be the last day of their lives, because they may be taken away to be killed. And because of this, the whole prison ship suddenly erupts into chaos. Just then, we see Abijan comes with some of his men to talk with several other prisoners, so everyone can make a plan together for how they can save themselves. But Abijan was only pretending. Instead, when he sees that one prisoner is trying to escape from here, he immediately kills him right in front of everyone. And because of this, the entire ship erupts into chaos. the prisoners split into two groups and start fighting each other. Here, almost every prisoner was busy fighting, except for one elderly prisoner. His name was Starry. Starry was practicing his faith there and praying to the Creator, asking for protection to save them from this place. Meanwhile, when the fight reaches a deadly level, right then, the guards arrive, and the guards start firing shots all around the area so the situation can quickly be brought under control. Then the guards throw a special kind of grenade. From inside it, a strange kind of smoke comes out. And under the effect of this smoke, we see all the prisoners lose consciousness, and the atmosphere across the entire ship becomes calm once again. Now, the next morning, when they open their eyes, they see they have arrived on a very isolated island. The officers make them sit in one place there, and each of them had a kind of handcuff on their hands, and each prisoner's handcuff had a different number. After a while, they are made to stand in one place, and many high-ranking police officers arrive there. Among them were two officers named Olapsa and Martha. They had come mainly to tell the prisoners about this place. Through a speaker, Olapsa announces to all of them that the name of this place is Terranova, and from today on, they will have to live here. At the same time, Olapsa also tells all of them that a new rule has now been introduced on Earth, and that is, no matter how great a crime someone commits, they can never be given the death penalty. Because if a person is punished for murder, and as punishment they are also killed, then those carrying out that punishment would also be criminals. Considering all of this, a new rule has been introduced, and now the highest punishment for any crime is life imprisonment. And since this rule has now been enforced across the entire world, every prison in every country is now overcrowded with prisoners. And now there is no more space to keep prisoners inside prisons. That is why this place, Terranova, has been created for prisoners. But Terranova was not built by Russia alone. Instead, it was created jointly by several countries through a global organization, which means prisoners from countries other than theirs may also be brought here. But the prisoners here will not actually be kept locked up. They will live completely free and independent. But even then, no prisoner will be able to escape this place, because this place was located on a remote island, and if anyone tried to escape even by walking away on foot, they would die. And even if someone tried to escape from this place through the ocean, they would die in the middle of the sea, because the ocean water was freezing cold. So the prisoners will only survive here and remain here. Even if they want to, they will not be able to escape. Now, the prisoners are worried about what they will eat here or where they will find enough food and water, but just then, they are told that food and water will be delivered to them every few months. Their food and water will be stored inside a box, and they will have to ration and manage their supplies carefully, because supplies will be brought to them once every 3 months. But if their food and water run out before then, they could die of starvation, and in that case, there would be nothing anyone could do. Besides that, they will be under surveillance at all times, because a satellite has been set up to monitor them, and if any emergency situation arises, there are red buttons nearby for them. Only one prisoner can press that button, and a boat will be sent to reach them, meaning they will be able to contact them and ask for help. And if a green light turns on afterward, that means their complaint has been accepted or their request has been approved. Although every prisoner was quietly listening to the officers, Abijan becomes furious here because he does not like these rules at all. So he picks up a huge rock in his hand and he throws it straight at Martha, and he protests against all of these rules. But Martha somehow manages to avoid being hit by the rock, and one officer, angered by Abijan's actions, fires a shot there and warns all the prisoners so that in the future they do not go against any of their rule. Now, when the situation calms down a little, Martha tells all of them that they will not force any prisoner to stay here. There is still time. If any prisoner does not want to stay here, they can let them know. And in that case, they will be taken back and sent to prison again. But after hearing this, no prisoner wants to go back to prison, because they feel that at least here, they can live openly and freely. And if they go back to prison, they will be locked up again. So compared to prison, this place now seems safer to them. So Martha leaves with her whole team to board the boat. But here we see that before the officers leave this place, they leave behind many keys, and each key had some numbers written on it. Maybe these keys were for the prisoners' handcuffs. And as soon as the officers leave after dropping those keys, the prisoners run over and throw themselves at the keys. and they start fighting each other over the keys. But Jilin and Sipa stay away from all this fighting. They stand at a distance, waiting for the place to clear out, and meanwhile, using the keys scattered around nearby, they try to unlock their handcuffs. Meanwhile, we see Starry. Starry, like Jilin and the others, was sitting there quietly. Meanwhile, the prisoners were fighting fiercely over the keys. No one wanted to let anyone go first, because before the guards left, they had announced through a speaker that with the handcuff keys, they would also be able to open the boxes there, where different essential supplies had been stored. And that is why the prisoners became obsessed with competing for the key, so that each of them could find their own key first and get items from the boxes. Among those prisoners, the ones who found their own keys ran over and opened a box. And we see that inside the box there were many weapons, like hammers, axes, and other tools like that. And after getting those, the prisoners become even more excited, and they rush back into the fight with those weapons and start attacking everyone. In fact, the officers had done this on purpose, so the prisoners would fight among themselves and kill each other. Now we see a prisoner named Ali. He and his team were the first to find their own keys, which is why they took most of the weapons from that box. And the entire situation there comes under their control. Because they have weapons, everyone starts fearing them. As a result, Ali and his team take control of the entire area. Then Ali decides that he wants to escape from here using the boat that is there. He then finds some good clothes inside one of the boxes and puts them on. Then among everyone, he chooses an elderly man named Starry and says Starry will help him operate the boat so they can escape from here. Because this boat is the only way it is possible to escape, and the boat cannot carry many people. So Ali only wanted to take Starry and escape from here. But because of this, all the prisoners become angry at Ali. Even Ali's own team members turn against him. So everyone together starts attacking Ali. And because of that, another fight breaks out among them all. Everyone there starts attacking each other using the rocks along the edge of the sea. And before long, about 10 prisoners are killed there. Then a prisoner named Mark attacks Ali with a rock. On the other side, we see Abijan. Using a rock, Abijan keeps striking Starry over and over with brutal force. Meanwhile, taking advantage of the chaos, 3 prisoners get into the boat and rush to escape from there. But they get caught in a strong ocean current, and we see the boat overturns, and they all sink underwater. Because the current is so powerful, none of them can come back up, and as a result, they die right there. Meanwhile, several prisoners go over to the boxes where the officers left essential supplies for them. Taking the opportunity, each of them grabs clothes and shoes for themselves. They even start enjoying the food there in their own way. Meanwhile, we see Abijan has not found the key to unlock his own handcuffs. As a result, he still has handcuffs on his hand. So he gets help from another prisoner, and using a special tool there, he somehow manages to remove his handcuffs. On the other hand, we see Jilin and Sipa. Together, they somehow manage to get 2 sets of clothes and 2 pairs of shoes for themselves. And from another carton, they take quite a bit of food. After that, they try to move away from that place, because fighting could break out there again at any moment. And here, Jilin tells Sipa that the food and essential supplies the officers gave them are not enough to last 3 full months. Because there were not enough supplies for so many prisoners. And on top of that, with all the fighting going on, there is even doubt whether these supplies will last 1 month. Now Jilin is thinking whether he can even survive here, because there is no certainty. Any prisoner here could kill anyone at any time. So he packs a bag with food and essential supplies for himself, and he decides to leave everyone behind and leave that place. And in his mind, he makes a plan that no matter what, he will escape from that place. So with that goal, he takes his bag on his shoulder and sets out toward an unknown destination, which is what we saw at the beginning of the movie, how he was struggling to survive while pushing forward. Now we see Jilin first walks across a very high mountain. In fact, the entire island is surrounded by towering mountains, so crossing those mountain paths was extremely difficult. Although at first, Jilin was managing to cross the green grassy mountains fairly well. But once he reaches the icy region, crossing those paths becomes much harder for him. Because of the ice, every part of the mountain is very slippery. Then while continuing his journey, Jilin becomes exhausted and sits down in one place. Now it seems he has completely lost his courage. So he takes out a picture he had hidden in his pocket where a woman and 2 children can be seen. In fact, this was Jilina's family, his wife and his children, whom Jilin loved deeply. Jilin holds the picture close to his chest and feels heartbroken, and he tells himself that he has to survive for his family. At least before he dies, he wants to see his family one last time, and while looking at that picture, tears roll down from Jilina's eyes. Then, holding the picture against his chest, Jilin falls asleep without even realizing it. And after a long time, when he wakes up, he hears some strange sounds nearby. Then when he looks ahead, he sees several large rats have come there. And the food Jilin had kept in his bag, the rats have eaten almost all of it. There is only a small amount of food left for himself. Jilin feels devastated because he does not even know how many days he will have to survive on this island. And now on top of that, his food supplies have been ruined. Now after some time, Jilin starts feeling very cold there. So somehow Jilin manages to start a fire. But at that moment, it starts raining again. So Jilin places a pot over the fire and begins collecting the rainwater inside it. And because there is fire underneath, the water slowly starts heating up, which Jilin uses to warm his own body. Meanwhile, to escape the rain, Jilin takes shelter under a rock. After some time, when the rain stops, Jilin decides to do something for survival. And after a lot of struggle, he manages to catch a bird. Then he lights a fire and cooks the bird there. And just when he was about to sit and eat, a prisoner arrives there. And that prisoner was none other than Sipa. Sipa had come there looking for Jilin, so Sipa was secretly trying to steal Jilina's knife. But Jilin notices this and takes the knife back from him. Now Sipa asks Jilin why he left him behind. He says they could have escaped together. Sipa then asks Jilin for some meat to eat, and in exchange, he gives him a packet of salt. Jilin agrees to his request. Then they sit together and eat the meat, and they decide that from now on, they will survive together and escape this place together. After some time, Sipa goes up the mountain to bring some firewood for the fire because it was extremely cold there. But at that moment, Sipa sees the picture of Jilina's family, where Jilina's wife was also there. Sipa was very weak when it came to women, so seeing Jilina's wife, he starts flirting with her image. Then Sipa goes and stands by the riverbank and tells Jilin that he often feels like jumping into the water and ending his life, but he never has the courage to actually do it. Sipa then asks Jilin why he does not just end his life. Hearing this, Jilin feels very sad. Jilin then tells Sipa that he had 2 children and a very loving wife, but now none of them are alive. All 3 of them have died. So Jilina's last wish is to be buried beside their graves, which is why if he dies here, that wish will never be fulfilled. He wants to stay with his family even after death. While saying all this, both of them fall completely silent. After that, Jilin and Sipa go to sleep to take some rest. And when Jilin wakes up, he sees that Sipa has stolen the picture of his family, and he is doing something very inappropriate while looking at his wife's image. Jilin becomes extremely angry, and he immediately starts hitting Sipa. He strikes him very hard and knocks him down, but Sipa does not die because he fell on a softer part of the mountain. However, after a while, Jilin starts to think that Sipa has mental issues, so he decides to continue the journey with him again because they are now in a place like this, where having more companions is better. It might make survival a little easier. Then Sipa starts searching around the area for different things that might be useful. And Jilin tries to catch fish in the seawater because they do not have enough food. Meanwhile, Sipa finds a fish, but it turns out to be a type of jellyfish. Seeing it, Sipa gets scared and lets it go. And even after trying for a long time, they are unable to catch any fish. Now when Jilin becomes very exhausted, he suddenly notices some parts of an airplane in the middle of the mountain, and he starts thinking that if there are parts of a plane here, then the full plane must also be here, because maybe the plane crashed in this place. So he takes Sipa and moves far away from that spot so they can clearly see everything around. And after going a bit further, Jilin sees that the entire airplane is actually there. Seeing this, a new hope starts rising in his heart. Because Jilin was once a skilled pilot, so if he can somehow repair the plane even a little, they might be able to escape this island using that airplane. But the biggest problem here was that the plane was stuck inside a frozen mountain, so for the 2 of them, pulling the plane out was absolutely impossible because the plane was very large and heavy, so they both decide that for now, they will return to their shelter. and there they will make a proper plan. Now, after Jilin and Sipa return to their shelter, they light a fire using a match that Jilin had brought from the Terranova prison. But after lighting the fire, Jilin realizes that something in the match is producing toxic smoke. And because of that, he is having difficulty breathing, so he quickly moves away from that place and calls Sipa as well. But Sipa was deeply asleep, so he drags him away from that spot. However, even after trying for a long time, Sipa does not regain consciousness. Jilin becomes very frightened. Actually, they had kept the fire burning for a long time, and snowfall had also started there, so Sipa had lost consciousness due to extreme cold. But after some time, when Sipa regains consciousness, he tells Jilin that he may not survive much longer. He is in a lot of pain. Hearing this, Jilin feels very emotional, and he decides that he will now take Sipa back to the prison again, and from there he will try to find coal and fire-making materials. So they both set out again towards the prison where many other prisoners were. After arriving at the prison, they somehow mix in with the other prisoner. No one even realizes that they had escaped. But now the situation inside this prison had become even more terrifying. Currently, this entire prison was controlled by Abijan and his group. All the food, water, and essential supplies for the prisoners were under their control. In fact, they were now running the entire place like a dictatorship prison. And Abijan was even claiming himself to be the governor of the place, because before this he had always dreamed of running a prison. Abijan and his companions have now surrounded the entire area with iron fences and have locked all the prisoners inside, so the prisoners cannot go anywhere whenever they want. They can only move when Abijan allows them to. They have also built a watchtower there, where Abijan's men stand and keep watch over every prisoner. Especially Astranet keeps such close watch on every prisoner that no one can disobey Abijan's orders. Abijan only allows prisoners to go outside for a very short time each day. But when it is time for prisoners to return to their cells, they all have to compete to get inside. Because while entering the cells, if someone is left behind, Abijan and his men kill that person right there. Seeing all this, Jilin and Sipa become very scared, and they realize that staying here much longer would not be safe. So somehow, avoiding everyone's eyes, they reach the pile of coal, where many sacks of coal were stored. They then manage to steal some coal from there, and they also somehow gather everything needed to start a fire. But because of the extreme cold and so much time spent traveling, both of them were almost freezing. So they light a fire a little away from the prison, and after resting there for a while, they fall asleep. But after some time, Sipa wakes up after hearing some noises, and when he looks ahead, he sees that the prisoners who were killed earlier are being carried on the shoulders of Abijan's men. They are coming toward them because they are going to cook them. In other words, they are now committing the horrific act of eating human flesh. Seeing this, Sipa becomes extremely terrified, and he tries to hide behind a rock. But Jilin was still asleep, so Sipa runs back again toward Jilin, and he tried to pull him away from that place. But Jilin's body was in such a bad condition that he did not have the strength to move. Because of this, Abijan and his men notice them, and they immediately capture both of them and take them to the prison. Then Abijan asks his companions that the punishment for these two should be even harsher, from harsh to the harshest, because they tried to steal their stored supplies and escape. So he asks everyone what punishment should be given to them. In Abijan's team, there was a prisoner named Yakud, whom we saw at the beginning of the movie. He tries to save Jilin and Sipa, so he tells Abijan that during the ship fight between the prisoners, Jilin and Sipa actually fought on Abijan's side, so it would not be right to kill them like this. Maybe they just tried to steal things because of the situation. But then Astranet tells Abijan that if you feel so much sympathy for them, then you should die with them. Hearing this, Astranet tries to attack him, but Yakud gets angry and pushes him down. However, because of this, Abijan and his men become extremely angry at Yakud, and they all together start beating Yakud. Even though Yakud kept begging for forgiveness, they continue beating him until he becomes badly injured. Then we see Abijan locks Jilin, Sipa, and also Yakud inside his prison, meaning from today, Yakud is no longer a member of Abijan's team. Now we see Abijan allows all the prisoners to go outside for a short time and gives them a chance to move around nearby. But after some time, when it is time to go back inside, Astronet screams, telling everyone to return inside. Everyone rushes back inside in panic, because if they don't act, they could be killed. But here we see Jilin is just standing still. So Sipa comes back again to take Jilin with him, and he quickly drags him inside somehow. In this way, the last prisoner who was left behind is tied to a wooden post by Abijan's men, and he is prepared to be killed. But that prisoner asks for one last wish in his life, a little water to drink. Seeing this, Sipa feels pity for him. Sipa then brings some water for him and gently helps him drink it, and shortly after that, he is killed. Now we see Jilin and the rest of the prisoners there. Under Abijan's cruelty, everyone had become extremely helpless. They were terrified for their lives at every single moment. So Jilin and a few prisoners decide together that as soon as possible, they will fight against Abijan, because if they stay silent like this, they will all die one by one. But some prisoners were extremely scared. They did not want to fight against Abijan at all. But a prisoner named Sharm says that now is the time for them to stand up. If they want to survive, they must fight. Otherwise, their death is certain anyway. Now the next morning, we see a prisoner named Tom, who was one of Abijan's men. He is showing Astronet a trap system, which was like a button mechanism. If someone tries to steal their supplies and steps on that button, a door will open, and they will fall down, and a sharp iron spike will pierce their neck. In this way, they can easily catch any thief. Now that day, when the prisoners are again released to move around outside, after some time, Astronet screams and orders everyone. He says, "I'll let the game begin again," meaning he orders them to quickly run back into their prison. But this time, the situation was very different, because when Astronet gives the order, only 2 prisoners run back inside, and the rest, including Jilin, just stand there. Astronet keeps shouting again and again, telling them to go inside. He even threatens to kill them, but this brings no result at all. Not a single prisoner steps back even one step. At that moment, Yakut is seen stepping forward with a rock in his hand, and from a distance, he throws it toward Astronet like a strike. Seeing this, all the prisoners start protesting together, and Astronet, scared, becomes completely silent there. So while every prisoner was protesting against the injustice done to them, Jilin takes the opportunity and approaches Abijan. Abijan, at that moment, was standing away from the prisoners in fear. Jilin then makes him an offer. He tells him, "We will not harm you if you allow us to use the boat here, because I have found an airplane, and through that plane, we can escape from this place, and then all of us will be free. So if you take me to the boat and let me go recover the plane, I will also save you. But a few others must come with me, because the plane is stuck in the middle of a frozen mountain." But Abijan asks who will fly the plane. Jilin then says he will fly it. Abijan agrees to his condition and prepares the boat for him. Jilin then takes a few prisoners with him and leaves on the boat. Meanwhile, Abijan was suspicious of Jilin's words. He felt that Jilin might have lied to him and might be trying to escape using the boat. But at that moment, Abijan learns from someone that Jilin was actually a skilled pilot. But one day, a plane crash destroyed his entire family. His wife and children died. Later, it was discovered that the crash happened due to negligence of those responsible for controlling the flight. Because of this, Jilin became extremely angry and went to the airport with a gun, and he shot and killed those who were responsible for controlling the flight. That is why he was later brought to prison, and he was sentenced to life imprisonment. Hearing all this, Abijan feels that Jilin might have mental issues. But right there, Abijan deceives Jilin. After Jilin leaves, he decides with his men to take control of this place again. He shouts to everyone that the game is starting again, so everyone must quickly run back to the prison. But Yakut comes forward, protesting against it. Because of this, Abijan and his men attack him and kill him. As a result, the remaining prisoners become extremely angry, and a huge fight breaks out between the two groups. In this fight, Abijan kills several people, and again he shouts, "I'll let the game begin!" Hearing this, the remaining prisoners get scared again and start running toward the prison. Meanwhile, when Jilin and his companions were crossing the sea, because of the strong ocean current, one prisoner falls into the water. But Jilin and the others somehow managed to save him. Then they all arrive at the signal point with the boat, where there was a red button through which they could call for help. Actually, they wanted to send a signal to the main prison office, so they would understand how much Abijan was torturing the prisoners and take some action. Although Jilin could have escaped with his companions, he was still worried about the other prisoners, because he knew that if Abijan got a chance, he would continue to torture them. But when they arrive there, they see that the red button is also broken, so there was no way left to contact the main office for help. Because of this, Jilin returns again to the prison with his companion, and at that moment, Abijan comes to them. Jilin tells him that he has already sent a signal to the main office, and very soon they will send food for them. Actually, they had very little food left, so the situation had become very dangerous. But Abijan does not believe Jilin, because if it had been approved by the main office, a green light would have turned on there. Now Abijan again tries to regain control of the situation, and Abijan's men start mocking Jilin. They were mocking him while running the plane, but at that exact moment, Tom comes from behind Abijan and kills him right there. He had been part of his team all this time, but he never liked Abijan. After that, chaos breaks out inside Abijan's own group. Those who were on the side of justice start killing Abijan's corrupt men. Meanwhile, Astronet somehow tries to escape to save his own life, and because Abijan's entire team collapses, the prisoners are once again set free. Now we see Jilin and his companion. Everyone asks Jilin what they should do next. Jilin tells them to free all the imprisoned prisoners, and our food might have already been sent because the green light did not turn on due to a battery issue. But our signal definitely reached them. However, no one believes Jilin. At that moment, one prisoner says, "What do we even need food for? There are so many dead bodies around us. So why worry about food?" But hearing this, Tom gets very angry, and he tells him that dead bodies are not for eating. They deserve to be buried with respect. Then Jilin tells everyone that if the food arrives, we will have enough strength to survive, and the plane I saw can also be recovered calmly and safely, and through that plane we can escape from this terrible hell. Everyone agrees with Jilin's words, and Jilin and his companions free all the prisoners who were locked up by Abijan, and they establish new rules there. First of all, they announce that from today, eating human flesh is completely forbidden, and from today, there will be no more fighting. Instead, everyone will live together peacefully. Whatever food and supplies they have will be shared equally among everyone. After that, a team is formed among them, whose job is to recover the plane and repair it. Meanwhile, Sipa uses a dead body and writes Iasosa in large letters on the sand, so that if any airplane or helicopter passing by can see it, they will come to rescue them. Meanwhile, Astronet secretly comes back there again, but when Jilin and his companions see him, they forgive him and pull him into a hug and decide to survive together. Then Jilin takes his companions to the location of the airplane, and when all the prisoners see that there is actually a real plane there, they become extremely happy and overjoyed. After that, they break the plane into several parts, and everyone takes one piece each and returns to their prison, because there they will slowly rebuild the plane again. But when the prisoners return to the prison, they see that Martha has arrived there with her guards, and they have taken control of the entire area within moments. Then they release a gas there and bring all the prisoners under control, and Jilin is brought in front of Martha. But Martha and her team do not realize that Jilin and his group have already planned to escape from here. Then Martha asks Jilin what the most essential thing they need for survival is. Jilin says they need fuel, but Martha asks what they will do with fuel, since the generator here runs on batteries and the food they were given is ready-made. Jilin then says that at night it becomes extremely cold here, so they need fuel to light a fire. Otherwise, everyone will die here. But in reality, Jilin's plan is to use the fuel to operate their airplane. Now Martha asks Jilin, out of the total 206 prisoners, how many are still alive. Jilin says 87. Martha then asks if any of them want to return. But Jilin says no one wants to go back, everyone is fine here. But they only do not have enough food and water. Martha says it would be better if they are provided with those supplies. Now Martha gives Jilin a chance to make one wish. Jilin writes it down on a small piece of paper and gives it to her. After that, Martha leaves with her people, and on that very day, a large amount of food, water, and essential supplies are delivered to them. Even the fuel that Jilin had requested is also provided. Then Jilin and his companions repair the entire airplane, and they try to start it by putting fuel into the engine. Fortunately, the plane starts successfully. This brings a new hope to everyone. But after some time, Martha's men return there again, and they bring and release a group of American prisoners, meaning from today, American prisoners will also stay here. Seeing this, Jilin and his companions become a little scared because the American prisoners look very dangerous. After they are released there, Jilin and his group come in front of them. The leader of the American prisoners was David. Jilin extends a hand of friendship toward him, but the prisoner immediately attacks him. Because of this, Jilina's group becomes angry and also attacks them. And a huge fight breaks out between the two groups. Because the American prisoners are more in number, Jilin and his team start to lose badly. Meanwhile, Sipa somehow pulls Jilin away from that place and takes him to safety. But one American prisoner follows them from behind. However, he falls into a trap that Tom had built long ago. On the other side, many people die in the fight. And during this battle, Moriak from Jilina's side manages to kill David, who was the leader of the American soldiers. Because of the fight, the entire base catches fire. Meanwhile, Martha can see everything happening from the base control system. And when the situation becomes extremely dangerous, Martha sends her guards and orders them to shoot. The guards start firing continuously. Because of this, almost all the prisoners are killed, but still, some prisoners survive by hiding from the attack. Then we see Jilin and a few of his companions survive, and while the guards are busy shooting, Jilin takes his companions and brings the plane to the edge of the sea, and they get ready to escape with the plane. But Sipa says goodbye to everyone, and he chooses his own path, walking up the mountain alone. Then he jumps into the sea from the top of the mountain and ends his life, because that was his long-time wish. Meanwhile, when Jilin starts the plane with his companions, the guards see them and start firing at them. Jilin tries his best to save everyone and escape from there. But unfortunately, his remaining companions get shot and die there. But since Jilin was sitting in the front, he luckily survives. From that day on, he becomes the only one who makes it out alive. Jilin then takes the plane and flies away toward an unknown destination in his life. And with this thrilling ending, the story comes to an end.